Kirsty, thanks for joining us. You've been described in the past as something of a clean sport crusader. Where does this interest come from?
To be honest, I think it comes from being a little bit more naive in the whole doping world, just not being around it, not knowing much about it, but knowing that, I was always brought up to know what was right from wrong, and that sports is about leveling all playing fields, and knowing that you have the ability within yourself, and the things that you do on a daily basis, like eating and sleeping, are enough to make you a great athlete.
You've mentioned in the past the importance of listening to the athlete voice. Is sport listening more to athletes?
I think so. I think the changes in the code show that the athlete's voice and the athlete's concerns are being heard. I think what a lot of us don't necessarily understand or take into consideration is all the legal background that comes into making such changes. When I became a part of the WADA Athlete Commission, standing and wanting for lifetime bans and not understanding why it's not happening, I couldn't get it through my head. But then sitting down and listening to legal implications and to kind of a little bit of the other side, you sit there and you're like, okay, getting it from a 2-year to a 4-year ban is a great step, and we're in a step to the right direction. So people are hearing us. It just might take a little bit longer in convincing people that life bans are the right way to go.
The revised code had a huge backing from clean athletes all over the world, and they're a real instrumental part of the process. What other main changes do you think will have an impact in the years ahead?
I think one of the biggest ones is the target testing and specific testing within sports, and even breaking down, so my sport's swimming, so not just targeting specific drugs that may be used in those sports, but targeting and breaking it down into groups of sprinters, middle distance, and distances, and distance swimmers. There's going to be different drugs that athletes use for each of those. So I think that is in of itself such a huge leap and such a good positive thing, because one, it may be a little bit more expensive at the beginning, but once we get the program running correctly and people get behind it, I just think a lot more people will, if they are cheating, will get caught out.
And what should be the main areas of focus for the Athlete Committee in the years ahead? There's been talk of working and communicating more with other athlete bodies to really have a greater impact worldwide. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. I think just as in, with the WADA code and with what WADA are trying to promote is communication amongst all the groups that make up the national anti-doping associations, the federations. It's the same for the athletes, the different committees and subcommittees. If we do a better job of communicating to each other, it makes us, one, stronger, because by communicating, we know where the other people stand. And even if we don't have the same position, we can have this same respect for each other and for what we're trying to achieve.
You were at the Youth Olympic Games last year. How important is it to get that message across to young athletes?
It's super important. And they were really enthusiastic. Like the time I spent in the booth with the education and the quizzes, and then they're really enthusiastic. They want to know. It's a great age to target people and target kids, because I think especially with technology, they want information, and they want it quickly, and they want to be able to read it, figure it out, and kind of move on to the next thing. And so getting them information that is not just exciting to them, but they realize is going to help them in the future, I think is really important. And now it's not just getting them that information, but then saying, if you ever come across this, email us or email this or call this number, so that we're not just kind of giving them information and then they don't know what to do with it.
You're a 2-time Olympic champion, Commonwealth champion, a former Zimbabwean Sportswoman of the Year. What's next for Kirsty Coventry?
I am training in Charlotte at the moment with the Swim Mac elite team, and loving it, really enjoying it. Hopefully going to World Championships this year in Kazan in Russia, and then on to Rio at the Olympic Games. That's probably going to be my entry and exit out of the competitive world.
Kirsty Coventry, thank you very much.
Thanks.